Top 10 80s Ultimate Evil Movie Villains. The 80s might seem like a long time ago, but the movie fanatics who have lived through the era swear by the delightful entertainment that the 80s classics provided that the 80s was the best decade ever. Another characteristic feature of the 80s flicks is the absolute badass villains. Some very strong and powerful villainous characters immortalize themselves in the hearts of moviegoers and are relevant even today. These villains range from fictional space warlords to ruthless criminals, but one thing that binds them together is the style that posed a legitimate threat to the heroes. In this video, we have assembled some of the toughest baddies from the 80s movies, and it is time to find out how these remarkable villains stack up against one another. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Chong Li, Bloodsport. Frank is a soldier who has trained in martial arts all his life to participate in an ultimate martial arts tournament. This tournament is held in Hong Kong and is so ruthless that people suffer from serious injuries and even die during the fights. Frank goes off to participate despite not getting permission from his superior, and as a result, 2 army officers are sent after him. In the tournament, he faces off with the defending champion Chong Li, who is one of the toughest fighters and known to have killed a few of his opponents in the past. Things are about to get pretty violent. It takes a special villain to challenge the mighty Van Damme in combat, and Bolo Yeung is as menacing as it gets. His character, Chong Li, is a kung fu maestro who displays a sadistic joy while hurting his opponents. His pride comes from his unbeaten winning streak, and he is up for doing whatever it takes to defeat his competition. When Chong Li is up against Frank in the final round of the competition, Frank seems to overpower him, but he throws salt in Frank's eyes to get the better of him. But Frank's ninjutsu training comes to the rescue as he delivers 3 deadly flying roundhouse kicks to establish a win over Li. The actor, Bolo Yeung, is no stranger to villainous roles, having played a role in Enter the Dragon opposite Bruce Lee. He has been a renowned star of Hong Kong's martial art films and is a powerful presence on screen. You might hate his characters, but you can't ignore them. Thulsa Doom, Conan the Barbarian. One of the most loved 80s swords and sorcery movies, Conan the Barbarian narrated the story of a young boy named Conan who was forced to become a slave after his parents are killed. An evil warlord and sorcerer, Thulsa Doom is behind the slaughtering of his tribe and parents. Conan grows up to be a fearless and powerful fighter who is determined to get his revenge. However, his opponent is no less dangerous, and it would take every ounce of his strength to get the better of the mighty Thulsa Doom. When you cannot defeat a mighty warrior by force, you take them down with magic. This seems to be the motto of Thulsa Doom, the mystifying wizard who is the leader of the snake cult that slaughtered Conan's parents and villagers. His tricks manage to deceive Conan till the very end of the movie. Thulsa Doom is such a gritty antagonist that even with the death of his giant pet snake or his guards, he isn't perturbed. Even in the final scene, when Conan is about to kill him, he makes a last-ditch attempt to hypnotize him, but fails. This role was essayed by the talented James Earl Jones, who has been a versatile presence on films, television, and theater. He has been involved in some amazing movies like The Great White Hope, Coming to America, Field of Dreams, The Best Man, and many others. His thundering voice makes for a great villain, and he impressed an entire generation with his voiceover as Darth Vader in Star Wars. Conan might be all about the muscle-wielding Arnold Schwarzenegger, but without the performance of James Earl Jones, it would never be the classic that it was. Lovers. Pinhead, Hellraiser. Frank buys a strange puzzle box, and after solving it, a mysterious force tears him apart. Then, a black-robed figure appears to restore the box to its previous state. Oblivious to the horrors, Frank's brother Larry moves into the house with his estranged wife Julia, who was incidentally in a relationship with Frank before marriage. When a drop of Larry's blood resurrects Frank, He needs constant prey to drain their life and feed into his own. Julia, who is still obsessed with Frank, lures people back to the house for Frank to prey upon. The blood sacrifices are essential to keep away the Cenobites and the dreadful Pinhead who are pursuing their escape. A horror flick isn't complete without a terrible monster who could be your worst nightmare. Pinhead is just that as the leader of the Cenobites. He is a supreme evil force that can be summoned via the demonic puzzle, and he slaughters his victims by tearing them apart. He is a pro at torture, and his demonic powers can put the victims through a lifelong suffering. Clive Barker ensured that unlike the usual slasher horror movies, the antagonist here would be cunning and intelligent. His thin frame and scarred body add to the horror of the viewer. Doug Bradley was the ideal actor to play the role, and his performances have been praised by the fans and critics alike. He also starred in movies like Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, and Hellraiser 3, and is remembered for getting under the skin of the characters. Lord Humongous, Mad Max 2. The story is set in a post-apocalyptic world where a former cop, Max, roams the endless wasteland searching for food and fuel. He comes across a small oil refinery that is run by a group of honest people. But a horde of biker warlords under the leadership of Lord Humongous are looking to get their hands on the oil source. Max has to be the protector of the defenseless community and stand up to the bandits while the community transfers the gasoline to a safe location in a powerful truck. Is the battle-hardened warrior up to the task? Yes, Mel Gibson was stunning as the sturdy and gritty protagonist, but fans of the movie also vouch for the incredible performance by Kiel Nelson. His role as Lord Humongous redefined the bad guys of the era, and he was a delight to watch as the psychotic motorcycle gang leader. His command over the unruly force is commendable, and his evil plans are focused on grabbing the resources of oil. Everything about his appearance, from the hockey mask to the strange attire, strikes fear in the viewers. The final confrontation with Max will go down as one of the most iconic face-offs as the two head towards each other in their armored vehicles. He dies, but not before establishing that he is a force to be reckoned with. Kiel Nelson, who played the role to perfection, was an Olympic-class weightlifter who has worked in movies like The Edge of Power and The Pirate Movie. But his most celebrated role has to be the one of Lord Humongous, a character that Mad Max fans have grown to respect.
Hey, Bobby. Clarence, no!
Clarence Boddicker and his gang, Robocop. The story is set in a dystopian future where the city of Detroit is on the verge of collapse. An evil organization, OCP, is looking to run the police department, and they are keen to test a cyborg design called Robocop. In the meantime, two cops on patrol duty, Alex Murphy and Ann Lewis, pursue some armed robbers, and in the shootout that follows, Murphy is shot in the head. The organization claims his body and turns it into a crime-fighting Robocop. But when he starts having flashbacks about his past and learns about the nefarious plans of the company, he turns against his masters. Robocop offered us something unique, be it the style of storytelling or the innovative idea. Besides the heroics of Peter Weller's Robocop, audiences were also drawn to the charismatic villain Clarence Boddicker, the leader of a dreaded gang. This gang would rob banks and didn't hesitate to kill those who stood in their way, including cops like Murphy. The Boddicker gang had ties with the senior president of OCP and even performed assassinations for him. Nobody can forget the bloody battle that ensued between his forces and Robocop. Clarence eventually met with a violent end after Robocop plunged his data interface spike in his neck. Kurtwood Smith pulled off the role in style, acting the necessary mannerisms that made Clarence such a dreaded villain. He is known for his roles on television, such as in Action Thriller 24 or NBC series Medium. His voice acting is also famous for featuring in several computer games and animated series.
Bennett, I thought you were...
Dead? You thought wrong. Ever since you had me thrown out of your unit, I've waited to pay you back. Do you know what today is?
Bennett, Commando. A former colonel, John Matrix, receives news that the members of his former unit are being killed by some unknown assassins. Before he has time to be on guard, his daughter Jenny is kidnapped. While trying to rescue her, he gets abducted as well and learns that Bennett, an ex-member of his team, is involved in the murders of his team members. A South American former dictator forces Matrix to conduct a political assassination to help his cause. In his helpless state, Matrix has no choice but to agree, but once he manages to break free, he starts off a crazy fight with Bennett and the leader. But he has to be careful because one wrong step can jeopardize his daughter's safety. It takes some serious muscle to threaten Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the character of Bennett was the ideal pick for the job. He is shown to be an ex-member of their special team of commandos and was kicked out for being too violent. He sought his revenge from John, and the opportunity arrived when he was recruited by the South American dictator. Some of the scenes where Bennett derives a sadistic pleasure while holding a knife to Jenny give an insight into his cold-hearted nature. The ruthless knife fight between John and Bennett is a treat to watch, and Bennett's death is equally satisfying. He is impaled by a steam pipe and dies as steam shoots out of the pipe. For this crucial role, Vernon Wells was the right pick, and his every move hinted to the dreaded villain that he was. Vernon Wells also starred in hits like Mad Max 2 and Inner Space, and displayed immense acting skills in many diverse roles. Lo Pan, Big Trouble in Little China. Over 2,000 years ago, a powerful sorcerer was cursed, such that he would exist without a physical body until he married a woman with green eyes. The Chinese street gang helping him discovers that Miao Yin is the chosen one and set out to kidnap her. In the meantime, her fiancé Wang Chi and his friend Jack Burton head to the airport to receive her, only to watch her being abducted by the gang. Jack and Wang embark upon a deadly mission to rescue her, but they must fight their way through monsters, magic, and ruthless martial arts fighters. But can they defeat the invincible enemy who doesn't even have a body? The powerful evil sorcerer was Lo Pan, an expert in dark magic and trickery. He has devoted followers who would die to protect him and do anything to help him get a physical body back. He also has the support of 3 martial artists who are skilled in supernatural powers. James Hong, the actor who played this role, mirrored the features that were demanded of his evil character. This character is actually a part of Chinese mythology, and with invincible powers, he was quite the force to deal with for Jack and his friend. The shroud and cunning nature would make you loathe him, and that, we believe, is the true success of a villain. The Kurgan from Highlander. The story takes you across time as you trace the remarkable journey of the immortal Connor MacLeod. He was born in 1518, and while facing a mysterious opponent, he suffered a fatal wound. He survived the impossible, but that led his clan to believe that he was blessed by the devil, and they banished him. He soon learns that the only way he can die is by beheading, and trains under a great swordsman. The evil Kurgan wants the power of the immortals for himself and kills Connor's teacher. Through centuries, Connor battles the mighty Kurgan, and in New York City in 1985, they are set for a final encounter. The evil Kurgan, as denoted in this movie, is a sadistic warrior who lusts for the power of immortality. We feel that there could be nobody better than Clancy Brown to play this challenging role that was a mix of evil and intelligence. He has starred in movies like Bad Boys and The Shawshank Redemption, where the whole world took notice of his acting prowess. Coming back to this movie, his character vows to kill Connor MacLeod and leaves no stone unturned in getting to him. He is also keen to absorb the powers of the immortal Connor. The battle to the death between the two is well choreographed and provides for a great adrenaline rush. He ends up being decapitated after putting up a valiant fight to test the might of Connor. Such villains wouldn't be forgotten in 100 years. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.